The remnants of Hurricane Ida battered the northeastern United States late yesterday, leaving a path of destruction in its wake across New York, New Jersey, Connecticut, and Pennsylvania, where at least 42 people have died, according to NBC News. While no longer a hurricane, Ida delivered record-breaking rainfall, turning roadways into rivers, stranding passengers, and sweeping away vehicles. The storm prompted an unprecedented flash flood emergency in New York City, flooding homes and trapping residents. The city's century-old subway system was no match for the rising floodwaters that quickly overwhelmed stations and train cars, which had to be evacuated before service was shut down. The storm also unleashed multiple tornadoes, like this one captured on video, not in Kansas, but in Mullica Hill, New Jersey. And it submerged entire neighborhoods in Philadelphia, where rescue efforts were underway all day. All of this comes after Ida left millions in and around New Orleans without power, and many won't have it back for weeks more to come, as the strongest storm to hit Louisiana since 1850. It even reversed the flow of the Mississippi River for hours during its landfall. The biggest river in this country literally ran backwards. This is the latest in a series of extreme weather events, and make no mistake, it's the product of the growing climate crisis we all now face. Climate change is not only supercharging hurricanes like Ida, but it's also spurred out-of-control wildfires, too, like the one currently raging near Lake Tahoe in California that's destroyed more than 200,000 acres. Simply put, these crises are getting worse. They're occurring more frequently, and we are frankly not prepared to deal with them, with drastic implications for our infrastructure and our economy, not to mention immigration and health care. What we're seeing today could be the new normal for years to come. With me now, meteorologist Matthew Cappucci in Annapolis, Maryland, where a tornado struck yesterday. And Michael Mann, distinguished professor of atmospheric science at Penn State and author of The New Climate War, The Fight to Take Back the Planet. I guess I'll start with you, Matthew. Give us a sense. Okay, there was a tornado struck down in Annapolis. That doesn't sound like a normal thing that is normally supposed to happen. What, in your view, is going on? And isn't this just basically what we should have expected, given that we've done absolutely nothing to fight climate change?
Well, I think that we do get tornadoes every year. Of course, Mid-Atlantic does get tornadoes. We're seeing them now more, partly thanks to social media. Of course, we get the videos out there more. This tornado was atypical in that we got better visuals of it, which is why it's so appealing for media, and we see it a lot. Now, we don't have a firm link between climate change and tornadoes. Some big-scale phenomena like hurricanes, like floods, there's a pretty solid link with. With tornadoes, not so much. I think the biggest thing that would be easiest to tie to link-wise to climate change with this particular event would be the very heavy rainfall. For every degree Fahrenheit the air temperature increases, it can hold 4% more water. So that fuels things like these floods we saw. But tornadoes, that's a bit of a stretch.
Right. And so let's talk about then what is sort of impacted, Michael. NBC News has a piece called How Rapid Intensification Fueled Hurricane Ida. This is what it says. It's a study last year published in the Proceedings of the National Academies of Scientists analyzed satellite images from the past 4 decades and found that the chance that a hurricane will develop into a Category 3 storm or higher increased by around 8% per decade as global warming has accelerated. How does that happen? And is there anything we can do to reverse it?
Yeah, unfortunately, no, there isn't. What we're seeing now is baked in. This is what we're going to have to deal with. Acting on climate now can prevent things from getting worse. When it comes to these hurricanes that we've seen, they're feeding off of not just a very warm ocean surface, but a very deep layer of warm water. And the ocean has been warmer this year than it was in any other year. This was the warmest year on record when you look at the heat content of the upper ocean. And it's that heat that allows these storms to intensify. Now, as Matthew mentioned, there's an increase of about 7% for each degree Celsius of warming of the ocean surface. And that's about how much the ocean has warmed. But you also get a large increase in the intensity of these storms, as much as 10 miles per hour for each degree of warming. A more intense hurricane entrains more moisture into the stream. And so you can actually see a much larger increase than that nominal 7%. You can see 20, 30, 40% increases. And that's sort of what we're seeing with these unprecedented rainfall totals that we're seeing with this.
Well, I mean, and Matthew, I mean, the thing is, New York City, you know, there was a hurricane a few years ago, which was like crazy. There was a hurricane in New York. He said they have tornadoes there. Well, hurricanes are not normally in New York. I used to live in Florida. That's where you have hurricanes. But you're starting to see that, and it's hitting places like New York that have this old infrastructure. The subway system goes back to the early 1900s. They're not ready for climate change. They're not ready for it to be constant flooding and hurricanes. This week, USA Today did an editorial in which they talked about our way of life hanging in the balance when it comes to climate change. The UN issued a report that found that the consequences of human-driven emissions are irreversible, as we just heard from Michael Mann. The assessment also emphasizes that the worst-case climate disasters aren't inevitable. Even incremental reductions in emissions could actually do something about them. But what else should we be thinking about? Because we're not hardening our infrastructure enough either.
Yeah, that's a really good point. Our infrastructure can't handle things like this because realistically, we were building for yesterday. We're not really equipped to handle what's happening right now, never mind down in the future. When these recurrence intervals, how frequently these things happen, becomes more and more problematic. Now, one thing we saw last night, the rainfall rates were excessive. 3.24 inches at Newark International Airport in just 1 hour's time. That's a month's worth of rainfall coming down in 60 minutes, 3.15 inches in Central Park. So a similar thing. And very little can handle that kind of rainfall. We don't have the drainage systems. These cities are old. They can't handle that rainfall. Urban sprawl has led to a bigger footprint that's really soaking up more rainfall. So I think the biggest thing will be these precipitation extremes, especially in cities that have underpasses, that have subway systems, and don't have that pre-made drainage system and it really created to handle this sort of event.
You know, and Michael, you know, as with the many things when America catches a cold, people of color catch a fever. The Washington Post did a highlight of an EPA report that talked about the ways that climate change are going to, of course, hit racial minorities the hardest. And they found that black people are 40% more likely than other groups to currently live in places where extreme temperatures driven by climate change will result in higher mortality rates. And you see this, you know, sort of playing out across the country. Not only people of color, but people of lower income, they're going to get hit the hardest, right?
Yeah, I mean, that's what's, really so unfortunate. Those who had the least role in creating this problem, and those are, folks who have the least wealth, future generations, people in the developing world, in the global south, who had the least role in creating this problem are bearing the brunt of the impacts because they have the least resilience. They have the least resources to deal with these problems. We saw that in New Orleans once again.
Yep.
There's a very large urban population that's going to be without power, without water for weeks on end. And so, climate action is a matter of social justice. Acting on the climate crisis is acting to further the cause of social justice. And we need to see it in that framework. It impacts all of us, but it's harder on those who have the least resources.
Amen. Amen to that. Matthew Capucci, Michael Mann, thank you both very much.